There's been some new developments in the world of chess lately, and I think I made my last video sometime in, well, I don't know, 5 or 6 months ago. And what I'm going to talk about now is, well, there's been a couple of new engines coming out. We have Deep Fritz 14, Stockfish, Houdini 4 Pro, and probably many others. Komodo, for example. And the following game is one that I played against Houdini 4 Pro, 32-bit. I haven't bought the 64-bit yet, but I'll do that soon. I was wide in this game, and well, it wasn't actually a handicap that I was using, but I gave the computer 1 minute and myself like, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. But it doesn't really matter because computers can play thousands of games in 1 minute anyway, especially against other engines. Okay, so I didn't manage to win this game. It was actually a draw, and I didn't even notice the time control. I think we played until the move 242, so that's kind of ridiculous. So let's take a look at the game anyway. I was white. I played e4. c5, 92. Now, obviously, I could play a normal move like knight f3, probably followed by d6, d4, and enter some very well-known opening. And when you're playing computer with an opening book, I don't quite see the point to play something, that anybody knows, especially machines. But okay, I believe knight to e2 is also part of some kind of opening, I suppose. The computer replied knight to f6, attacking the pawn immediately on e4. I played d3. Now this looks like a very dull opening, and probably it is, especially when you're playing against human opponents. But when you're playing a machine, it doesn't really matter. The point is to just keep the position closed and just try to survive, basically. So knight to c6, c4. Again, I'm just trying to keep the position closed, and when you try to do this in the center, then obviously, well, not only machines but also human opponents will try to open up things either on the king side or the queen side. So he played e6, preparing d5. I played knight b to c3, just another piece guarding the d5 square, but the computer played e5 anyway. So I took the pawn. Oh, sorry, I didn't take the pawn. I played bishop g5, and here the computer played d4. So okay, I'm not winning anything here, because if I take with the c pawn, it will take with the e pawn, and then probably play something like knight b4 and just attack the d5 square anyway. So there's no way to win anything here. So I play bishop g5, d4, knight b1. And also, by the way, when the computer played d4, that was kind of a victory for me, because I just said that I wanted to keep the position closed. And after d4, it kind of makes life easier for me, because this is exactly what I wanted to accomplish anyway. So d4, knight b1, bishop d6, knight d2. It looks like I don't really have a plan here, and I'm just moving my pieces back and forth, but actually I do have a plan, and just like I told you, I'm just trying to keep the position closed and see what happens, basically. Castles, g3. Obviously I need to get my bishop out, e5, bishop g2, h6. And here I had to take the knight, because I cannot play bishop h4 or anywhere else. I'm just forced to take. So I took bishop takes, queen takes, castles, h5, h3. h3 stops something like bishop g4, and also if I don't play h3 here, then black could potentially play something like h4. And after h3, if the computer would play h4 here, I can just play g4 immediately, just stopping that idea. So we play rook b8, preparing obviously b5, so I'll stop that with a4, bishop d7, and king h2. Now after this, it's very unclear how to, for black anyway, to break through anywhere on either the queen side or the king side. It could be that the king side is more obvious than the queen side, because as you can see, the queen side is just totally cut off and there's no way in. Okay, attacking my pawn on d3, so just protect it with knight to c1. Knight to c1. h4, And here I did play g4. Now the problem with g4 is that it leaves this square on f4, but it doesn't really matter because even if the queen would give a check on f4, it doesn't make any kind of difference. I would just go to g1 or h1. Bishop e7, queen e2, queen d6. You might think that it's scary to have your king line up against the queen, but you know, there's no way in again. And even there's a pawn on e5, and even if he would play f5 and I would take, and he would sacrifice a piece and play e4, you know, there's nothing there. Knight b c3, bishop g5, f3 and b6. I mean, it's completely close and impossible to penetrate anywhere without a sacrifice or anything, something like that. Okay, so and now the computer made another favor, so to speak, when it played a5, because if I can manage to get my one of these knights to, let's say, a3 and then put it on b5, I don't see any way in. The only chance black has is to start something on the king side, for example g6 and f5, just anything. But again, I don't even have to do anything. I mean, if g6, f5, I can just leave things as they are and wait basically. And here, after rook e1, yeah, there is a fork on c2, but can you see anywhere else? I mean, the rooks aren't actually doing anything because there's no way in. When you have rooks, you need open files, and there are no open files here. So it doesn't really. It looks like a blunder, but really it isn't. I just put it on a2. I took back, and even though I'm down in exchange, it doesn't make any difference. And basically, one could say that this is the end of the game because there's nothing going on here whatsoever. We just move back and forth for a couple of hundreds of moves. And the reason I actually went that far is that I didn't even see that we both ran out of time. I think the computer ran out of time first because, as you can see, but it moved extremely fast. So the minute I even let go of my piece, it made a move. But I did say that I gave the computer 1 minute and myself like 3 or 4 minutes. But what difference does it make? I mean, we're talking about a very strong engine here. So there's no reason to actually go on because there's nothing happening here. I'll just move back and forth, and nothing happened. I think the only thing that actually did happen was that when you move your piece back and forth over 50 moves, or actually if nothing has happened on move 50 or something like that, then it's automatically a draw. So they had to do something, and I think, let's see where he came here. I think he played b5 at some point here. Let's see. Something happened anyway. Let's see, this is move 115, still nothing going on. Okay, so he played g5, and I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. There's absolutely nothing going on, and now that you have the bishop on f4 locked in and he can't get out, I don't even have to move my f1 knight anywhere. So, you know, anybody can tell you that this is a complete draw. So yeah, I mean, it offered a kind of exchange here because now it would be a pretty serious mistake to take the bishop here with the knight, because then after h takes g3, black has the h file, and that would be the end of the game. You don't want to let the computer in anywhere, because if you do, that's just the end of the game. So again, we move on, nothing happening, and let's see what the next change is. I think it was b5 at some point here. Yeah, okay, here it is. And obviously on this is move 152, and he played b5 in order to break the 50 move rule. So, maybe I should have taken the pawn immediately, but I was hoping for something like b4, just totally closing the position, but he didn't actually do that. He played b takes, a take. Sorry, let's see here. Yeah, b takes a and b takes a, and now bishop is c6. I have to protect with knight b5. And again, the game goes on and on and on and on. Nothing happening, and eventually I just turned the game. I mean, I just decided the game here, conclude the game that it's a draw, because as you can see, there's no way in, and this is just a draw. It was a draw like 100 moves ago or something like that. So this was a game against Houdini 4 Pro. It came out very recently, and I think there are two versions of it, 32-bit and 64-bit. I have tried Diffritz 14, 64-bit, and well, I don't quite want to compare the engines, but I think that the 64-bit version is stronger than the 32-bit. And I would also say that Diffritz 14, 64-bit is stronger than Houdini 4 Pro 32-bit, but you know, that's just a guess. This is based on like maybe 20 games against Diffritz and this is one game that I drew, and then I'll play probably 4 other games against Houdini 4 Pro that I lost. So I'm not basing that conclusion on many games, but I do believe that Diffritz 14, 64-bit is stronger than Houdini 4 Pro 32-bit. I've also tried Stockfish, Komodo, and I believe that Stockfish is stronger than Komodo. That's just my feeling of it. But it's all these engines are extremely strong. I mean, I think that goes without saying. Okay, I hope you enjoy this quick look at a game that I played against Houdini 4 Pro 32 bits.